Welcome to this deep dive into feel-good freedom.
Ah,
So the sources we're looking at today, they really point to this pretty profound idea, the idea that happiness isn't some goal we have to struggle for,
mm,
but that it's more of an inherent state, a kind of default setting we've just forgotten.
that's it, exactly. And our mission here, it's a little different. We're analyzing research that looks at feeling good not as a reward, but as, well, as something that's already built in, available 24/7. It's described as a natural state, something we're born with.
And that puts this core paradox right in front of us, doesn't it? Our sources highlight this contrast. You look at a small child and they smile for no reason at all. It just happens.
Mm.
But then as we get older, we spend our entire lives searching for a reason before we let ourselves feel happy.
And that contrast, it perfectly maps out the journey of human conditioning. The
Yeah.
sources suggest we start out in this optimal setting, pure, unearned joy. And then somewhere along the way, our operating system gets an update. We get switched from just being happy to needing a reason to be happy.
Okay, so let's try and unpack this a little bit, because
Yeah.
this societal shift, it seems to be the real core of the first part of our material.
Yeah.
We're taught almost from day one that happiness comes after something else. It's no longer automatic. It's if this happens, then I'll be happy.
That if-then statement is the cage. It really is. Nature gives us joy,
Like,
just gives it to us. But society, through expectations, through competition, it gives us the conditions for happiness. We start measuring our success and by extension our happiness against these external things. We have to earn it.
But I have to ask, if society's the one doing this to us, is it really realistic to think we can just turn that off? I mean, how does this idea of inbuilt joy stand up to the actual pressures of modern life?
Yeah.
The constant comparison, the demands?
That's a crucial question. And the argument isn't that you turn off the external pressure, it's that you shift your emotional center of gravity, internally. And this is where you see modern thinkers like Tony Robbins lining up with ancient philosophy. Robbins says, emotion is created by motion. Choose it, don't chase it. It's an active choice, not a passive result.
So you're saying we don't wait for the world to give us permission to feel good, we just decide to feel good, regardless of the chaos.
Exactly. And that choice connects directly to this idea of internal mastery. Think about it. If your happiness depends on the world behaving in a certain way, you've handed over all your power. The ancient scholar Chanakya said it thousands of years ago. Self-conquest is the greatest victory. And the sources use that to show that when we master our internal state, the chase, it just stops.
Okay, so if self-mastery is how we escape that trap of conditional happiness, what's the actual mechanism for it? How do we access that?
And that brings us to the second big idea, which is, honestly, it's pretty revolutionary. The idea that feeling good is your default operating system.
This is where it gets really interesting for me. The idea that feeling good is an inbuilt system, kind of like breathing or your heart beating. It just happens automatically, right?
Sure.
You don't have to consciously tell your kidneys to work. It just,
Ah,
and joy is like that too.
that analogy is so powerful because it cuts through all the complexity we've built around happiness. To get to that default state, you don't need to learn a new skill or buy a new thing. You just have to remember the system is already running. It's a state you return to, not a process you have to complete.
So the hard part isn't creating the happiness. It's just getting out of its way.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And if you look at the user manual for this, you find it everywhere, in both Eastern and Western thought. The mind is what gets in the way. Eckhart Tolle says, real peace is within, not dependent on anything external. Our dependency on the external world, it's all generated by that mental noise, right? The worry, the what-ifs.
That makes so much sense. The mind is constantly running those if-then programs we were talking about. So if the mind is the blocker, how do we quiet it down? How do we let that inherent joy come to the surface?
And this is where the source material does something brilliant. It connects this very modern concept to ancient wisdom, specifically to Maharshi Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras. He gives us the exact mechanism. He says that the control, or maybe a better word, is the cessation of the fluctuations of the mind. That is the source of bliss.
Okay, hold on. Let's really break that down for everyone listening. The cessation of mental fluctuations. What is Patanjali actually telling us about our default joy?
He's giving us the instructions for our own internal OS. Imagine your natural state of joy is like a crystal clear radio signal. It's always broadcasting, but your mind is just a constant blast of static worries about the past, anxieties about the future, judgments. Those mental fluctuations are the static. When we learn to just quiet that static, the clear signal, that natural inbuilt joy is suddenly there. It's been there all along.
The work isn't creating the signal, it's just clearing the noise.
Yes.
That shift from creation to realization, That's a huge pivot. The work is subtractive, not additive. You're taking things away, not adding more on.
You are removing the obstacles, not trying to build some giant monument to joy.
But this
Yeah?
inherent system of joy, it runs into a massive wall in the modern world, which brings us right to the practical side of this, our third section. How do we break this conditioning? Because we live in a world where marketing has one message: buy this to feel good.
It's an incredibly powerful trap. It works by exploiting that temporary void we feel when we forget our default state. The sources suggest the model for the future, for this reclaimed freedom, has to be the complete reverse. It's feel good, then buy.
Let's talk about that, the real-world difference of just reversing that order. Why does feeling good before you act change the outcome so much?
Well, when you act from a place of needing to feel good, you're operating from scarcity, from a deficit. You buy the expensive thing not because you want the thing, but because you desperately need the feeling it promises. And that often leads to, well, to regret, or just a short-term high that vanishes.
So the decision is driven by the need to fill a hole.
Exactly. Now, flip it. Imagine you intentionally access your default state first. You feel good, you feel whole, then you make the decision to buy something. You're now acting from a place of abundance. That thing becomes an addition to an already good life, not the foundation of it. The quality of your decisions just skyrockets because the desperation is gone.
That has such practical relevance for you listening. Whether you're making a huge career move or just deciding what to do this weekend, if you can operate from that place of well-being first, your choices will be so much more aligned with what you actually want long-term.
The whole focus shifts from filling a lack to enriching an existing fullness. And it brings us right back to that philosophical grounding. I mean, Dale Carnegie saw this. He said, happiness doesn't depend on external conditions. He knew it was self-generated.
And even further back, you have Socrates saying, know yourself and you will find happiness there. It's this beautiful idea that we don't have to chase it all over the world. We just have to remember it's the bedrock of our own being.
And that act of remembering is what the sources call reclaiming freedom.
Which moves us right into our final section, linking this emotional state to the actual concept of freedom. The sources use this really powerful historical metaphor. Just like people can forget they are inherently free until that freedom is actively reclaimed, many of us today have forgotten our natural right to just feel happy.
And that's the whole engine behind this feel-good freedom idea in the sources. It reframes emotional mastery as an act of personal sovereignty. The core belief is this: to feel good every moment is my birthright. It's not a privilege. It's an inherent right, available all the time, for no reason other than because you exist.
Wow, that changes everything. It takes happiness from being a subjective, fluffy goal and turns it into an objective, fundamental human right. So what are the stakes here? What are the implications of getting to that level of emotional mastery?
They're huge, both for the individual and for the world. Maharshi Arvind said that spiritual peace, that unshakable internal calm, is the greatest strength a person can have. When your internal world is governed by you, by choice, external events lose their power to throw you off balance.
You become resilient instead of just reactive.
Exactly. And this is why the sources point to things like the Tony Robbins virtual team vision. It suggests that emotion mastery is going to be the next great human revolution. A global shift from motivation based on scarcity and fear to motivation based on abundance and creation. That changes everything: politics, business, relationships.
It changes the engine of human progress from, I need to escape pain, to, what value can I create?
It's the move from surviving to thriving, all by recognizing that our most critical resource, joy, is already internal and infinite.
So let's bring this all together. What does this all mean for you listening right now? The core message is this: happiness is natural. It is an inbuilt system. It is available to you right now, like your breath, like your heartbeat. It doesn't need a reason. It doesn't need conditions. It doesn't need anyone's permission.
And based on that, we have two really simple, actionable steps you can take today, right now. First, just take a deep breath and silently, to yourself, affirm this thought: I can feel good because I am. That's it. It's an anchor to this present inbuilt state.
And the second step tackles that conditioning we talked about. The next time you have to make a decision, any decision, big or small, make it a priority to feel good first. Access that default state and only then act. Don't let the goal be the reason for your happiness. Let your happiness be the foundation for the goal.
That one practice completely resequences your relationship with the world. It puts you back in the driver's seat of your own operating system.
So we've seen today that the real work isn't in the chasing. The hard part is just realizing the joy was ever gone in the first place. The real effort is in undoing the layers of conditioning that blocked the vibrant default joy that was already there, running inside you all along.
Which leads us to our final thought, something to really sit with. Remember this. Feeling good is not a skill you have to learn. It is nature's gift, just waiting for you to accept it. And so the real question becomes, what would you create in your life if you always acted from a place of inherent unconditional joy?